Welcome back, audience, to A Quiet Time with DJ Jazzy Jeff. I'm your host and DJ, Jazzy Jeff. And you can just join me right here on the floor. Just right here. While we sit down and take a quiet time. Just some quiet time right now. And utterly confuse my cats as to what the heck is going on. They're just going crazy. I swear they were just meowing, like, up until I hit the record button. We'll see if they continue. But for now, let's talk a little bit about character design and sexism therein. So there's this big thing that's been around in video games for a long time, and is constantly brought up as one of the reasons why it's very hard for women to get into video games, is because the characters tend to be geared toward male audiences. Well, I mean, okay, so we can argue that because males are typically the target of all video games, it makes sense for character designs to try to target them. But where the heck am I going? So, well, let's just talk about that. Let's talk about how they're targeted toward men. So, if you look at the typical female or woman in a video game, they tend to be fulfilling typical male fantasy is how it's normally put. You know, they're extremely attractive, in traditional manners, large breasts, thin waist, wide womanly hips. Like cats. And little to no clothing, you know, things like that. Things that the typical adolescent male may find exciting. In terms of personality, they tend to not be the main characters. They tend to be supportive of the main character. Maybe snarky, but, I mean, look at the typical damsel in distress of Peach. Very little in terms of personality. Oh, did I win? And that's about it. If you look at the typical male in a video game, or a man, or boy, air quote, they're typically muscular, well-built, tall, handsome, but not like, well, okay, handsome and not like the feminine type male, unless you're looking at like JRPGs and stuff like that, just because that tends to be their vision of a hero. They tend to be smart, but not too smart. They tend to be quick-witted, and I don't know, heroic? What's a good word? They tend to flirt with pretty much anything that has legs and breasts, but not necessarily in a cruel way. Basically, the argument is whenever someone points out that, you know, the women in games are super sexualized and we need to fix it, someone will then point out the counterpoint. Well, the men are super sexualized as well, which then brings up a counterpoint of both of these character designs are fulfilling the male power fantasy, where you have women that men find attractive, just in general, and men that men want to be, but not necessarily men that women find attractive. And it's funny, I normally that's where the counter points end, and I tend to normally accept it at that point, like, you know, yeah, okay, I can see that, and this is a problem, but as with all things inherent in the system, how do you fix it? I guess the best way to fix it would be to put out games that have strong female characters, either as the main characters or as secondary characters, although main characters would be preferable, and we've had some good ones recently. I mean, the longest running one is obviously Samus from Metroid. Possibly the first female main character, playable character, that actually, like, is anything other than just a randomly generated one, or just pick your gender at the beginning of the game and it doesn't really matter. Which I think they had in a couple, well, in like the first Final Fantasy, pretty much everyone was male. Even the white mage, Twist. But I have faith in Mirror's Edge, which is one of my personal favorite games of this generation, actually had personality and was a fun character, and I really like her, and I really hope Mirror's Edge 2 brings her back. Resident Evil, Jill Valentine, the girl from Silent Hill 3, and I'm out. I mean, most of the rest of female characters that you can play as in recent games are the kind of characters where you pick your gender. And I mean, even Commander Shepard, in all the artwork and all the trailers and stuff, is by default male. I mean, I play as female Commander Shepard, but that's because I really hate the male, like, Commander Shepard's voice actor, and Jennifer Hale is an amazing voice actor. But the bottom line is, one, yes, you could argue that both genders are geared towards males more. But then the question that recently was posed, and for some reason it never occurred to me, I saw it posted on Reddit, and get out of the camera, was, then what is the female power fantasy? So if you are female, and obviously I am not a woman, so I can't really answer this myself. If you were creating a hardcore action game, what would you design the female lead to be? Like, we're talking, okay, if you made Gears of War where the protagonist was a woman and you were trying to get more girls to play the game, what would the main character be like? Would she be scantily clad, large-breasted, thin-waisted? And according to this girl that I was talking to, you possibly would, because some girls, maybe not all girls, fantasize about that sort of thing. In the same way that men may fantasize about being muscular and brawny and snarky in ways in which they are not. Girls may also fantasize about that, although no one likes to admit it. Let's face it, no one does. Whenever it's brought up that male heroes are set up that way, in order for men to fantasize about it, that's a negative. That's saying, you know, this is why you play it. But it is why we play it. It's one of the reasons. One of many different types of reasons to play video games. It's one reason why video games sell so well. I mean, the escapism, right? We talk about it all the time. So why wouldn't non-beautiful, sexy, scantily clad girls want to be that? I mean, besides the obvious... Okay, whoa, hold on. Cut. Because you're about to say, whoa, Jeff, are you suggesting all girls want to be scantily clad and sexy and whatever? No. No, I'm not. But just like not all males want to actually be like a stupidly dumb action hero all the time, escapism's fun, and I'm assuming some girls and women like to fantasize about that. Again, I don't know. I can't see from that side. But probably you do. Like, that's how fantasies work. I've seen fan art. I've seen drawings, and I've seen Mary Sue characters, and you know what they always are like? That. So, girls and women do want that. Now, I'm not saying current character design obviously is made to fulfill those fantasies, because, let's face it, again, males are the target audience of almost all video games. And so, obviously, those character designs are geared toward them. But I think what this person who pointed this out to me was trying to say, what she was trying to say, was that the characters may be pandering, but the solution may not necessarily be that, because they're fulfilling some sort of fantasy for at least her. I guess is where I'm going with this. I couldn't get a straight, like, answer out of any girl as to how they would design characters for that. Although I did ask one girl, a friend, what she would design characters like if she was trying to attract as many girls as possible to play a game. And she said she'd pretty much design Katamari Damacy or Little Big Planet. So, you know, next person who's trying to design a first-person shooter to attract a lot of girls, you just make them cute. Bam. You got like all of them. How's that for a stereotype?